Today, I want to talk about SEO for coaches because if you're a coach that is so tired of Instagram grind, whether you have had your coaching business for a long time, so you've kind of like you were a part of the heydays of Instagram when everything was good, your content actually got shown to people, you could grow an audience and you've plateaued and you realize that it's just not what it used to be no matter how hard you try. Or you're a newer coach and you're like, "Hey, this is so hard." And every coach that I'm trying to learn from keeps like telling me exactly what they did to grow, but it's not working because Instagram has changed. If that's you, you're going to love this video because I'm going to break down SEO for coaches and share why I think that search engine optimization or search driven marketing, which is what I like to kind of think of it as, is the best way to market and grow your business. So, first, I'm Kara. I do Pinterest and blogging for service based businesses and coaches, done for you totally. So, if you ever want to outsource this, search driven marketing can also be a great thing to outsource because somebody else can write the content for you and you don't have to show up, right? Unlike when you hire a social media manager or something like that, you still have to be the face. You still have to do the things. Blogging Pinterest is not like that. So it's a great thing to outsource. But don't worry, I'm not going to bury the lead. We're going to talk about SEO for coaches if you want to get more consistent leads, more long term visibility, different opportunities too, because it's not just potential clients that are searching on Google or ChatGPT. And yes, when I talk about SEO, I am going to consider that where people might be searching is AI versus Google. But regardless, the main point of why we're doing this is to get freedom from that social media hamster wheel. So I'm so excited for this. Okay, so I feel like I've already kind of discussed this, but let's talk about the problem that you might be facing, and then you can kind of see if you're in the right place. So we are all seeing a declining reach on Instagram. We're all feeling burnt out, constant content creation pressure. And maybe I shouldn't say we're all facing burnout, but if you haven't yet, there's a good chance you will because the pressure to keep producing feels endless. And let's be honest, if you have a launch model or even if you have an evergreen model, it can be really stressful and challenging to keep the top of funnel, the new people finding you full, right? One of the problems I hear when I work with coaches is like, I feel like I'm launching to the same pool of audience over and over again. And eventually it does stop working. So, real quick, I've already kind of talked about this, but what SEO is. So, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And when we think about search engine optimization for coaches, we're really talking about like getting found on Google. However, I would say the tips that I'm going to teach you are also things that ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or any AI tools right now are really looking for too. So, don't tune me out if you're like blogging is dead, which by the way, is not. Take a deep breath because it is absolutely not. But just in case you're thinking that, if you're like, my people are heading to ChatGPT, like, I've got you. So, SEO works for coaches because it positions you as an authority in your niche, brings you warm leads who are already searching for your service. This is like a very key thing that I think is often overlooked. When we think about Instagram, we're like disrupting the scroll. We're like, hey, you didn't know you have a problem. And now I'm going to tell you that I'm gonna make you see the problem. I'm gonna try and show up in your feed enough times that you can kind of like see like you have a problem and I have the solution. Versus search driven marketing, where people are finding you right after they're searching for something, which means they already know they have a problem. They're already looking for a solution. They're much more likely to pay for that solution. And on top of that, they're like in a frame of mind to receive that information. I don't know about you, but when I'm scrolling on Instagram, I'm like in line at the grocery store. I'm putting my toddler to bed. Like I'm just like chilling versus like when I'm sitting down to Google something, I'm like, you know, how can I fix this problem in my business? And I'm like ready to like read, digest, potentially hire. So that's why it's a good match. Okay. Without further ado, I'm going to jump into the tips. So tip number one is obviously keyword research. You need to use a tool like even looking at like Google's autocomplete area or Uber Suggest is like free or really cheap. There's Answer the Public. There's Keywords Everywhere is a more affordable option. I use SEMrush right now. Ahrefs is also a good one or Moz. There's so many tools out there just to like make sure that what you're going to write either write on your blog post or optimize websites for. There's so many different directions. And sometimes, like, I would say Google and AI tools, they're smart, right? They're not going to be like, they're not going to not understand what you do because you said, you're a coach for high achieving women. They're going to know that that's the same thing. So we don't have to like overthink this, but doing keyword research can show you opportunity that is kind of like an untapped pool of leads. And I know we all think that our markets are so, so saturated, but the reality is there is room for more. There are things being searched every day and people are not finding what they need. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but this is what keyword research does for you. Number two, once you know the keywords, you really need to optimize your website and your blog. So, again, I specialize in blogging, so obviously this is where I focus, but you can also optimize pages on your website. Go through your website and adjust the heading tags. That's definitely the lowest lift way to make an impact here. So, like, change your headings, have your main keyword to your H1. You should have one H1 heading tag per page. And then everything else that I would say is like an important headline should be an H2. And then other headings like, I don't know, work with us, read the blog, like more of those kind of headings that are going to be found. I'm using your homepage as an example. Those can be H3 tags or even H4 tags. So I know this like sounds so technical. It is literally a button if you're in Show It or if you're in Squarespace or if you're in WordPress. Like, it's so easy and it makes a big difference with how Google can read your page. That is the lowest lift thing that you can do on your website today. Another really easy thing, depending how many images you have on your website, make sure that you resize them, that the image sizes aren't too big because that can slow down your website. Rename them. So, like, before you upload image on your website, you're going to want to put the keyword as the name of the image with dashes in between. So, like, business coach for website designers, whatever you do, life coach for women, Denver life coach, like literally, like, whatever. Put it with dashes in between for the images and then add alt text once it's uploaded. Again, if these things sound so complicated, any of this can be found in a super quick Google search. And I promise you, it is just like not hard. I don't want to like bore you with like I don't know how to add alt text tutorial today, but those, like I would say, headings and images are like the easiest thing that you can do. Tip number two to follow up, I said optimize your website and blog. So write blogs that answer your clients' most common questions and specifically most common questions before they hire you. So, what are they looking for as a solution? And sometimes you have to be a bit creative because what you know is their problem is not what they think is their problem. I'm sure you're familiar with that if you've done any kind of marketing on social media. But when you're looking at blog content to create, you're really going to want to center it around there. When you're writing the blog post, try to infuse your personality. If you're having trouble, I like to sometimes talk it out and then either like put the transcript through ChatGPT to like help clean it up or just like rewrite it based on like after you talked it out. Sometimes that just helps get you out of your shell. I know it can be excruciating to stare at a blank page because I have done that more times than I can count. So that's just something to keep in mind. You really want the blog post to be okay, like optimized for skimmers for sure. Like, most people are just going to be reading the headlines as a way to like vet you before like heading to your services page, heading to your program page. But that is something to keep in mind when you're thinking about SEO for coaches. Like, if someone was going to read every word, would it be optimized only for Google, or would the people reading it actually want to hire you too? So, my third tip is adding backlinks. So collaborate with other coaches, guest blog on other people's websites, like your students if you're working with people. Be on podcasts to boost your authority if you can. That's a really great way. Put your blog post or website on Pinterest. You don't want to like be pinning images to like the same link like your homepage over and over again, but adding like pins to your blog post can be a really great way to build backlinks, which again is a great move if you're looking to increase SEO for coaches. Honestly, like, those are the biggest things that you have to do. Like, I've already talked about why SEO is important, and then these are kind of like the easiest ways to make it part of your marketing strategy. I would say, like, I would love for you to get 5 blog posts up on your website. It doesn't have to take that long. I have lots of great videos and podcast episodes. If you want to learn more on how to do this well, I'll link to those in the description box below. To finish out this video, though, I'm going to share some common mistakes and then talk about how SEO fits in other areas of your marketing just to kind of get like the most, I guess, bang for your buck, I would say. So, first common mistakes: writing for yourself and not your audience. Pretty self explanatory there. Ignoring analytics. I think so often we just like, especially I feel like when we're thinking of SEO for coaches or the coaching industry in general or marketing in general, it's like there's so much pressure to like produce, produce, produce. And sometimes it's like, not sometimes, usually it makes more sense to look at your analytics and like tweak and optimize what's working. I love using Microsoft Clarity to see like how people are actually interacting with my blog posts. Last mistake, actually, I'm going to give 2 more mistakes. One of the mistakes I would say is giving up too soon. SEO for coaches takes time. I would say you're going to want to make this a consistent part of your strategy for like 6 to 12 months. Honestly, probably closer to 12 months because you are in a more competitive industry, even though it's not as competitive as things like Instagram would make you believe, but that's neither here nor there. The other one that I'm just kind of add that I didn't have in my notes, but I feel passionately about it as someone who does SEO for coaches, and that is, especially when you're blogging, if someone's going to land on your blog post, you need to make sure that it is immediately clear what you do and who you serve and like how they can work with you because there are so many informational websites out there. That's who you're really competing with because most coaches are not taking the time to blog or work on their SEO, which is their loss and your opportunity. So, what you're more likely competing with is more informational sites. And that's a good thing because they're not you, right? The people that want to take it another step further are going to be looking for you. And so, how we make it super clear is whenever I'm writing a blog post, I like to introduce the topic. Then I like to introduce myself and like how you can work with me. And I'm not a coach, but I'm saying obviously done for you service provider. I do Pinterest and blogging. And but you, if you're a coach writing a blog post, you're going to introduce the topic, introduce yourself, how they can work with you, whether that's one-on-one coaching, if it's a group program, if it's a digital course, whatever it is, and then the content of the blog, and then finish with a call to action. That's really important. The last thing I want to talk about is just how SEO fits in with other marketing. I know it could be so hard to prioritize the long game in your marketing, and I just told you it takes 6 to 12 months to work. I know that you're also familiar with telling your clients that we need to prioritize the long game sometimes. So I know that you can do this. I would say, though, to get the most like bang for your buck while you're investing in something like blogging, whether you're investing time or money to hire someone, here's what you want to do. You want to like take those blog posts and repurpose it. Make it go as far as you can. Like throw the best quotes of the blog post on threads, turn the meat of the blog post into a carousel, create a B-roll where you're like, putting the hook with the call to action to read the blog. Send an email to your list about it. Like the options are endless. And yeah, like use this blog. Like I'm telling you, as someone who does marketing for a literal living, when you have one well done long form piece of content, the rest of your marketing gets to be so much easier. Trust me. So that's all I have to say about that. Obviously, if you want to outsource, you know where to find me. If you want more tips like this, please make sure to like and subscribe and do all the YouTube things. So thanks for watching.